Today is the 10th of January 2021, and sorry about the background noise, all the family are up there in the lounge room and so on, and a bit of a mess around here. But I'd like to get straight on to the things that I'm concerned about or hoping that people might be interested in, and in doing so I welcome civil and polite comments. I know that some people might laugh or scoff at what I'm about to say, and I get disruptions anyway, irrespective of it, somehow. My memories of the 1960s include the fact that we only had, domestically of course, Ansett Airlines and TAA, which is the Trans-Australian Airlines, which is a government airline. And Qantas was around, of course, and Qantas is now actually 100 years old this year, or last year it was in 2020. What I'm I'm not trying to be funny or a prophet or carry on, but what I believe from my observations is that the money has been wasted in paying out over $1 billion, I don't know how much it was, for Virgin Airlines. And I believe most airlines in Australia, in other words, will disappear, and there will be no need to build this Badgerys Creek Airport in Western Sydney and have metros and everything serving it, and there'll be no need to spend the $4 billion on building a railway line from Melbourne to the airport. The airlines will be cut to shreds, in my opinion. Now, someone could laugh and say, oh no, it's not true. When COVID-19 is over, everything will come back. Well, it's not over, and it won't be over for some time. I predicted to last at least another 12 months. And then don't get me started on vaccinations. People will have the vaccinations, which are only a feel-good thing. They don't actually prevent COVID-19. But that's fine. They can go ahead and do all that. Then they can free up the borders and stop the lockdowns. I agree with that. So we're looking at 12 months from now. But you've got to ask yourself, how can hundreds and hundreds of restaurants, if not over thousands of restaurants and businesses, tour operators, entertainment and travel, how can they last? As I mentioned the airlines, but I would say, going back to what I was talking about in the 1960s, air travel was expensive. Then you had two major airlines. It didn't make any difference that you had two airlines. They flew wingtip to wingtip. Their fares were the same, and all the rest of it. So it was just nonsense to say we need two airlines. People travelled by train. They introduced the Southern Aurora in 1962. It was a great train, had 10 sleeping cars and dining and lounge cars. Now people say, oh, well, that's all gone. Well, it's not all gone, because the trains exist and they've been refurbished and they use them on tours. And yes, the demand was gone because of COVID-19, and the high, more so, I should say, before COVID-19, the discount airlines, when you could get ridiculously low airfares, the trains and the buses and everything else couldn't compete at all. There's no way in the world. If they're gone, as I said they might, and if it goes down to Qantas only, it would be a half-size operation in both the fleet and the staff, and the number of services they operate will be lower because the airfares will be put up higher. Now, I'm not saying that there won't be any discounts from time to time. I believe there will be. I believe there's some good discounts from time to time. But there might be a rail resurgence in the next year or two at the most. And even bus services that have ceased, some of them would come back. For example, a lot of my overseas friends in particular know nothing about this. There's no buses between Adelaide and Perth, and that's a long way, guys. That was a couple of days' journey. There's nothing there The train is unreliable at the moment because the Indian Pacific hasn't run because of border closures. It's only once a week, it's only a tour train. I believe the time will come when the company that runs it will throw its arms in the air, so to speak, and say, here, you take your trains back, and you'll get three services a week and fares cut in half or less in the case of pensioners and seniors. And all of a sudden, instead of one train a week, they'll have three, and they'll have sitting cars on it, and they'll have the whole resurgence of the train as it was in the past. And you can see the GAN running from Adelaide to Darwin being twice a week instead of once. Trains that connect with each other properly, and sitting cars that provide people the opportunity to do short trips or shorter trips, such as Broken Hill or Adelaide Port Augusta, and other sectors, including perhaps even Darwin and Katherine, and those kinds of things, like Kalgoorlie, Perth, and so on. Excuse me. So I see a resurgence coming. I see the disappearance of these airlines that I've been talking about, and I think that we've only got a matter of months for these things to eventuate, because we can't hold on forever. And as I say, a lot of restaurant people, by the way, have already indicated quite clearly, we put up with the last lot of lockdowns, we put up with the last lot of border closures. Now we can't survive if we don't get stability, borders open permanently, lockdowns stopped, get on to the vaccinations if you must, in other words, and then go to what they call herd immunity. And that means even those people, all those people who are vaccinated, they'll still get COVID-19, but they won't feel it. It's like when you get a cold or a flu now. You take some Codral tablets or something, and a few days later it washes out of the system and it's gone. Please don't listen to the words prevent when they're talking about the vaccination. So anyway, I just thought I'd express a few of those thoughts now for people, and they can, as I say, can reply on wherever this is going to go. YouTube, it's going to go to Facebook, and no doubt it'll go to Flickr and so forth. So I just wanted to get my thoughts out there and see what people think about the whole situation, and thanks for viewing.